All right, Coach. We meet again this week as for the final time in January. Here, hitting the home stretch here for the 2018-19 season. Looking back to last night, obviously, you head to Carson-Newman on Wednesday night, and a game that you lead for almost 35 minutes and just kind of slips away from you there late, and a 79-75 loss. So, kind of, how did you look back on that one last night?
Well, it was, disappointing loss. Certainly, you got to credit Carson-Newman. I thought they made a lot of big plays, made all the toughness plays, made shots. I mean, we certainly would have taken the win had we gotten it, but we would have stole it. Even though we led most of the way, I felt like, they were, every time we got a little bit of separation, 8-9, they would make a hustle play or toughness play, kind of bring them back. And basketball gods usually reward that at the end, and they did, and the right team won, and the outcome was what both teams deserved. That being said, it's never, one thing. There was just a number of plays, throughout the game. I think, the second half alone, we gave up 4 3-pointers on offensive rebounds. And it wasn't one guy, it was 4 different guys, and they still had to make. It wasn't like on those, they got the offensive rebound, threw it out, and we were out, and 3 of the 4 were really contested, but they made them. And but again, offensive rebounds, we have twice we fall asleep in the second half. Once Mason Bates is trailing, and we just have a brain fart, and he steps into a wide open 3 at the top of the key and drills it. And then other possession, we double the post for some reason, they throw it out, and again get wide open 3 and they drill it. And again, they got to make those plays. We had some breakdowns, and then I think, on the offensive end, when we get frustrated or when we're not able to kind of impose our will, I think, last night, and it's kind of been a pattern, obviously, we start settling or trying to hit home runs offensively, whether it's last night it wasn't turnovers, we turned it over 9 times, but it was just poor shot selection, poor shot discernment, coming down and saying, okay, well, I'm frustrated, so I'm going to get one up here quick, and not giving the defense a chance to break down, not moving the ball, not giving our offense a chance to work, and we play a little frantic, and it emanates from a good place. Like, we have competitive guys, they want to do well, they want to, be the one to kind of right the ship, but it's not the way we need to play, and it's away from our identity, and so it's all those things together. It's an accumulation. Again, you got to credit Carson-Newman, because whatever we did, they had to step up and make plays, and there was numerous times that I thought we guarded them really well and they made shots. It's Chris Clayton's made 2 threes all year, he drills 3 last night. Mason is shooting the low 20s for the year, he makes 2 or 3 last night, made all their free throws. But they're a good team who played really well on their home floor, and the line was high to win. You can't have them do all those things and then give them 30 points on where controllable things that you don't take care of.
You talked about last night after the game, you said it was kind of the same 2 Achilles heels in terms of poise and lack of poise and toughness. So how do you think that lesson will start to kind of kick in now when you take another loss?
You hope it does. I mean, a big part of coaching is teaching people, what goes into winning, and that's my job. And we've had, we've been really fortunate. We've had the last X amount of years, I guess 8-9 years, we've had veteran teams, and a lot of corporate knowledge, and so there hasn't been as much on-the-job learning. Guys have gone through a process where they've come in and either redshirt or not played much as freshmen, and kind of taken a year or 2 to understand, and they get greater opportunity as time goes on, and they're ready to take advantage of it. That's not, who we are this year. And I think part of becoming a really good competitor, and I think guys don't understand coming into a program, and it's not particular to us, but I think anytime you go into a program that's had a lot of success, the thought is that the winning happens by osmosis. You just kind of show up and throw the jersey on, and knock down some shots, and you win. And I think the realization that it doesn't work like that, that you can't just, that has to be earned, that you have to go out and you have to execute and you have to compete and you have to play it possession by possession, and every possession matters from the first to last of the game, and you got to go in and play every one with a sense of urgency. that's not something that's normal for guys when they walk into a program. And part of becoming a good competitor is getting hardened, is getting calloused, is getting scarred, is having your heart broken and coming up short. And we talk about the guys last year, Dorian, Emmanuel, and you go back and Lou and all these great competitors, but those guys, they had to go through their process too. They had their hearts cut out, Dorian and E as freshmen, they're hosting the region first time ever. They're role players as freshmen, and we get beat, and then the next year, we lose the national championship game. And that, people think, oh, well, it doesn't matter, you went to the national championship. It was a devastating loss, and that's the thing, is I think as you, to develop the correct competitive disposition, you got to get hardened. You get hardened by these lessons, and some of them are really tough lessons like last night, and we'll see. Have we made progress? Certainly. Are we a better team than we were in November? Without question. But I don't know that it's a home or road issue. I know people say, well, you're 4-5 on the road, you're 9-0 at home. I would say it's more of an adversity issue, and we haven't faced any adversity at home, right? So, I don't necessarily look at it like it's a venue issue. I think when adversity hits, we have to respond better. We have to, we can't hang our heads. We can't disconnect. We can't try to hit home runs. We just have to maintain our poise, maintain our toughness, and that's where the poise things comes in. Is, when a team's making a run or things don't go your way, can you stay true to who you need to be at your best? And right now with this group, when things go away, I mean, we played fine at Coker, and we won by 29, and we've played on the road and had success. And again, I think it's more of an issue of our ability to respond when things don't go our way, and that's an area that has to improve. We're a good team, but to become a really good team or become an elite team, we have to make that jump, because at the end of the day, the difference between good and great and not so great is really consistency, right? I mean, that's what separates them. Like, if you can do it every once in a while or half the time, you're probably good, or a little bit, maybe not so good, but you're right there. Bad teams probably can never do it or rarely do it. But what separates good, great, and not so great is the ability to do it consistently. And we have to be more consistent and not be so affected by external stuff, i.e. Runs, venue, whatever the case may be.
Well, fortunately for us, you look at it, Queens ends up dropping a game last night too, so we remain just 2 games back of them, still in the hunt for the SAC regular season title despite last night. So there's still a massive opportunity in front of you despite that. So how do you kind of move on from that and now look towards Saturday as this final really month of the regular season?
Well, I think, no matter what, had we won last night, and that's kind of the unique thing, I guess the way I think, I don't know if it's normal or not, but had we won last night, it would be, get back in the lab, get to work, prepare as best you can, and try to be at your full potential and play the best game of the season, your next game. And win or lose, that's the approach. It doesn't change. If you're struggling, get in and get to work and get better. If you're rolling, get in, get to work, get better. It really, to me, it's the same. And so, I know Queens dropped one. It doesn't affect my opinion of them at all. I think they're, easily, one of the 10 best teams in the country, if not better than that. I think they've been, the class, the league to this point, no question. They've got everything. They're a really good basketball team, and they're terrific on both ends of the floor. Their offensive efficiency, the way they guard the athletes, the switching, the scheme. They're well coached. They're talented. They have everything, and then they have, I think, a guy in Sean Willett who's. He reminds me, they're different players, but reminds me of Dorian in terms of just his toughness, and you could see how hard he competes, and he's just a warrior. And if it ended today, I think he's the consensus player of the year in the league. And I'm not smart enough to follow everything nationally, but he'd have to be in contention for the national player of the year in the league, national player of the year for Division II basketball. And then Daniel Carr is as good as any guard in our league. He's a great two-way player, shoots it, distributes it, gets in the lane, can finish, makes plays, guards the team's best player. Lou Diancalu's as skilled or more skilled than any big in our league, and he's just a guy that they could throw it into and get baskets. And then Van Turner, we have a lot of great shooters in our league this year, none better than Van Turner. And then I think the other pieces really fit. and they have great complementary pieces from Kenny Dye and Blaylock and Ja'Kai Taylor and Brodowitz and on down. Patterson's playing well for them, so they've got depth. So, you know, they force you, I think, and they're really good. You know, if you for 1 second let your foot off the gas, if you take a possession off, if you disconnect, if you hang your head when things don't go your way, if you lose poise, they crush you. And I think it's you know, it'll be interesting to see how we're able to kind of handle all that, because that's been, like I said, that's been an area that we have to grow in, and the only way to grow in is to go in and be challenged to do it. We haven't been up to it the last few times, and we'll see. You know, Saturday, we'll know a lot more about our team on Saturday night.
So talk about, obviously, that challenge and balancing the emotions that are obviously going to be connected to this game.
Well, I think any game you go into, I mean, you know, when you look at it as a historical deal, we've played for high stakes. I think we've played in the postseason 4 years in a row, and NCAA tournament last 3 years, and regional finals the last 2 years, and we beat them on their home court, and they beat us on our home court, and you know, all that type of stuff. We've taken regular season titles, and they beat us in the tournament final. So there's been a lot of high stakes games, and we've I think we've pushed each other and probably made each other better the way it's been. But you know, emotion in the game to me is overrated, because I think it lasts about a minute or two, and then the game kicks in, and you got to go out and you got to compete, and you got to execute, and you got to, you know, do the things necessary. You got to eliminate losing. You got to go play it possession by possession and try to win the majority of the possessions. It doesn't, you know, all the stuff that happened in the past, or you know, whatever, you know, again, quote unquote, kind of rivalry stuff. Those are all, you know, those teams are, you know, that they had those games in the past, and the first time we played, it wasn't much of a rivalry. They beat us, you know, 28, and could have been a lot worse than that, and so we got annihilated the first time. So, you know, we're going to have to play much better, and again, I think you got to kind of strip all that out. That's great for the fans and all the people around, and I get it, and I certainly understand why. Like I said, the teams have battled for the highest of stakes the last few years, and I think we have I can't speak for them, you know, we have the ultimate respect for them, their program, the way they do things, the consistency with which they've had success. But from our end, when that ball's tipped off, it's going to be, you know, going out, playing every possession, trying to find a way to win the majority of the possessions, trying to find a way to fill the gap in the areas that we need to fill it in, because as much as we were tested last night, and I thought Carson-Newman was a good team that played really well, probably as well as they could play, and that caused that adversity. Queens is just an elite team. So there's gonna, these situations not gonna go our way the whole time. Again, I'm interested to see how we respond, because that's ultimately gonna dictate with this team if we're able to make that next jump in our evolution from where we are now, which I think is a good team, to a team that can, you know, compete for those things that the previous teams here have competed for.